We will be showing you an example on integration by parts, okay? The general formula is the integral of u dv equals uv minus v du. Now, the trick here is being able to label your u and your dv. And the way you do this is you're trying to get on the right hand side the integral of v du. So whatever is it that gets you the simpler v with the simpler du, in other words, the simpler v du together to be able to integrate is the right choice. Yeah, so in this case, if I call u to be my t, then du is just dt, and then I only have my dt for du. Yeah, so that means whatever I have left has to be dv, so that means dv has to equal e to the minus 3t dt, right?
du over dt equals 1.
Yeah, du over dt equals 1, yeah? So now dv equals e to the minus 3t dt, you agree? So now I need to integrate to figure out what v is. So if dv is e to the minus 3t, the integral of dv is just v, and the integral of e to the minus 3t dt is e to the minus 3t divided by minus 3, because the chain rule in the derivative gets you a minus 3. So with the integral you do the opposite. Instead of multiplying by minus 3, you divide by minus 3. Yeah? And now we just plug in the rule of the integration by parts. Okay? So then we would get t e to the minus 3t integral equals uv. So my u is t, and my v is e to the minus 3t over minus 3. Any questions? Minus the integral of v du. V is minus 3, so I have two minuses, so this becomes a plus. The 1/3 is a constant, so I can just pull it outside the integral. Yeah? And then v is just e to the minus 3t, and du is just dt. And you can see that we ended up with a very simple integral here, e to the minus 3t dt, which we in fact had already integrated. So now, to finalize, this becomes t e to the minus 3t over minus 3. There's nothing I need to do here because this is already, does not have an integral sign, plus 1/3, and we said that the integral of e to the 3t is e to the minus 3t, and by the opposite of the chain rule, we divide by minus 3 plus the constant of integration. So our final answer becomes minus 1/3 te to the minus 3t minus 1 over 9. 3 times negative 3 is minus 9, e to the minus 3t plus t. And that concludes the problem on how to integrate by parts. Had you started with the wrong u and d, let's see what happens if we had chosen, instead of t to be your u, what if you had chosen, so let's do it the wrong way and see why it is. What happens if you had chosen your e to the minus 3t to be your u? Yeah? What would your dv be then? T dt, yeah? And with this argument, your du becomes minus 3 e to the minus 3t by the chain rule, and your v becomes t squared over 2, yeah? So what would happen on the v du part here? Then you would get the integral of v, which is t squared over 2, and du is negative 3 e to the minus 3t dt. Right? So you started with t e to the minus 3t, and where did you end? You ended up with t squared e to the minus 3t. So in fact, you made the integral more difficult. You made it harder. So clearly you have chosen the wrong u, and therefore this way does not get you anywhere. Any questions?